Hello, everybody. Ruby Retrograde Tarot and Tea here. And what will I be serving up and dishing out? It is day 17 of Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot. Now, if you notice, you might have noticed that I have skipped over a few days. Namely, I skipped day 15, day 16th. The reason being is that I wasn't too sure how to answer those questions, or I didn't or the question wasn't necessarily for me, or it didn't really apply to me. So for example, day 15, it asked if you had any tarot self-care ritual for your personal practice. This one, in one part, I wasn't too sure where the question was going. So if they were talking about if you do things before you do a reading, or if it's something, I guess, more related to you. So um, some sort of self-care, as in, I don't know, like meditation or things like that, and on which you include tarot. Because I wasn't too sure of how the question was to be answered, I skipped that. And then day 16 was what was it again? It was if I ever turned someone from a tarot non-believer to an enthusiast. And yeah, an enthusiastic and to an enthusiast. There we go. I can word. For this one, I can't really answer it because it's not as if I necessarily outside in the world talk to people about tarot or say this is what I do or you should do it. There are some people who know about it. I mean, in my family, and sometimes they look at my decks and things like that, and they like looking at my decks and and want to look around. But I don't think that they necessarily were non-believers, so I don't think that it necessarily counts. So for those reasons, I skipped those two questions. Now maybe later on, I might go back and answer them if there is someone that, for example, I did turn out, to have them discover the world of tarot and decks and cards, and that sudden pretty syndrome that takes hold on you and you want to just buy all the decks. But for now, I'm gonna skip those 2 days, and I'm gonna move on to day 17. And the prompt for that one is, what is my go-to tarot book and why? This was an easy thing for me because that it's pretty much what it is. It's my go-to book, and I've talked about it before in previous videos, and it is Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom, a tarot journey to self-awareness. And I've said it before in a previous video, as dense as the book is, as packed full of information it can be, so trying to read it from cover to cover can get quickly overwhelming. At least for me, that's what it was. It is so useful, if only for the very, very basic of wanting to get interpretations or meanings of cards. This here, now as you can see, I put like pretty much any sort of thing to act as a page mark, so I could go back to it. So here it starts on I think the first few maybe one or two chapters starts with the origins of tarot, and goes over it. Let me see if the introduction. Then it talks about the 4-card patterns, and it goes over the overview. And then starts getting into the major arcanas, and then after that it goes into the minor arcanas, and then after that it talks about readings, and then what you can learn for readings and how to do readings and tips and tricks and things like that. So this is the third edition, and especially for the major arcana. Now the information, it's not that there's less information or not as good information in the minor arcana section of the book, but the major arcana will go through a very detailed explanation. So for example, depending on the card, so sometimes you'll have a picture of the Rider-Waite-Smith card of the trump they're talking about. So here, for example, in the case of the lovers, you'll have here the RWS, and here this is the Marseille. And Rachel will go and talk about, for example, in this case here, Rachel will be talking about how when Waite and Smith sat down, they decided to make changes to the lovers card and why. And then we'll talk about some esoteric background, the esoteric background and on what different elements of the cards mean. And then after that, it will go. Now this one is a little bit longer. It'll give you the upright meaning and a reverse meaning of the card, and it'll do that through all of them. And then when it gets to the minor arcana, how it'll go, let me see if I can catch the beginning. There you go, the beginning of the suit. Once it goes through cups, it'll explain, about cups as the suit itself, what it is, the element it's related to. Then after that, it will go from king to ace as opposed to going from ace to king. So the first few times when I'm looking for the ace of whatsoever, and I'm going like, where is it? I can't find it. It's because it goes from king down. So just keep in mind, type of thing. And usually it's about 2 pages a card, more or less. Okay, so here in this case, they make an allusion as how the Knight of Cups has a similar profile as the Death card, and then goes to explain why. And really, this book has been recommended by many people, and I definitely give credence to that. If you can get your hand on a copy, it's definitely worth it. And yes, once again, if you try and sit down and kind of read it page after page, at one point in time, you'll at least for me, it feels like you're slogging through, and it's just so much. You almost kind of have to take this book in almost kind of like a snack. It's just a little bit here, a little bit there. And for me, it's been very helpful. It helped me to notice little details or just get a general historical background. And so for that one, yeah, I really like it. And you personally, I don't think you would go wrong with getting this book. So that is Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom. Yes, I have to slide my book up and down because it's too big. A Tarot Journey to Self-Awareness. Easily available on Amazon. I think this copy was a gift to me. Someone gave that as a gift, I want to say. Yes, it was a gift. But in any case, you can find it on Amazon. I'm sure you can, even earlier editions, they're just as good. From what I hear. I think differences are page layout, if I remember correctly. I believe some page layout and maybe some minor adjustments, but even then, it's still a great choice. So that is my go-to book, the 78 Degrees of Wisdom. I hope you enjoyed my little mini book review, and let me know what about you guys. Do you have a go-to book, or maybe it's a go-to website? I mean, if you don't necessarily like to have books at home, maybe you have a website that you turn to 9 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10 when you have a question or not too sure about a card. So let me know down below. And until next time, thank you for spending some time and listening to me talk. And until next time, bye-bye.